have talked a little bit about how I want to create a space here that is ultimately a resource for education and information, maybe a little bit of entertainment. And today I want to add one more thing to that list, and that is inspiration, which is why I am so happy to be joined by Erica Murdock from BAC Design Group. She is their lead designer as well as a tile specialist. Erica, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So before we really dive into the topics and the questions that I want to talk about today, can you give us a little bit of your background, your experience, and also a little bit about BAC Design Group?
Yeah, so I went to design school at Arizona State University and graduated in 2009. Since then, I have been in the design industry, starting off at a painting company, actually, and working my way into kitchen remodels and cabinetry design, and then eventually found Dean and Trisha Adams with BAC Design Group, and where I am able to do full design on full houses, new builds, remodels, interior and exterior. So I'm very fortunate that I am able to practice the design from schooling all the way till now. So
yeah. So was this kind of a space that you naturally felt drawn to for most of your life?
Yes, it definitely was. I have two sisters and a brother, and they both are very, very brainy and smart. And I always felt like that the science or physics or chemistry didn't really come as natural to me as drawing and artistic things. And so I started to really kind of dive into more of the art classes and the interior design classes. I was always rearranging my room. I would sit there with a piece of paper and draw out, oh, here's my window. Okay, maybe my bed will fit here. And, my mom would knock on the door and be like, what's making all that sound in there? It's just me moving all my furniture around and playing around with decor and everything.
Yeah.
So yes, it was always something that I was interested in. There's a lot of directions you can go in, I guess, in the design industry. And so I think that's when I graduated, kind of my path of how I found my niche, I guess, of where I'm at now with BAC Design Group.
Yeah. And did you grow up in Traverse City?
I didn't. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, actually.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what brought you to Northern Michigan?
So while I was in school at Arizona State, my design program required us to do an internship as part of the program. And my parents have a house up in Leland, and we've had it in our family for quite some time, the 2000s. And they had decided that my dad was ready to retire and they wanted to remodel the house. So they interviewed designers, hired a local designer in Traverse City, and I did my internship with that designer. So I, during that summer, I came here to Traverse City and did my internship with him. And I actually worked on Dean and Trisha's home while I was a little intern, their first home, Parade of Homes. And so that's how I kind of connected and, met a lot of people in the industry here at that time. And then when I graduated, I decided to move back and work for him. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Thinking about when you were going to school, like around that time, I feel like that was kind of the introduction to something like Pinterest right around that time.
Yes.
Did that really influence, like, was there a lot more people becoming interested in that space at that time?
Yeah, I would say, Pinterest, even in college, like even when Facebook started, I was the first freshman that had Facebook. All those social media websites really started to take off. And you would get clients that would come to you and be like, have you seen this on Pinterest? Can you do this? And so that was really the first, I feel like, where clients could almost get their information on their own versus hiring or having to flip through a magazine, bringing in more hard inspiration ideas. It just it opened the door for people to really use their imagination of what's possible out there.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine what an influence that really has on the industry, not only for design, but honestly for home building and builders in general, for sure. So I've been able to see a little bit see firsthand really the way that the BAC, not only Bay Area Contracting, but also Design Group, how the two work together, the customer service that your team provides, the details on every single project that you do. Can you talk a little bit about the team and really what makes BAC Design Group different?
So we are with our sister company of Bay Area Contracting. When we work with them, we are a true build design firm, which there's not very many in northern Michigan. And as we come to find out, we just went on a leadership retreat and did a builder show in Austin, that there's not very many design build firms, but they are starting to really kind of pop up and connect, because what you're finding out is there's so much design elements that are needed for our team on site to know when they are building. And it even goes from early as the framing stage. You'd work with your team inside the office. So that would be, your project managers, your trim installers, your CFO, your other designers on staff, but you're also working with all of the subcontractors that actually make your designs happen, which is huge because you're still involved in the framing, placement of windows, where electrical is being ran, plumbing locations, and then also when a situation comes up where, hey, that linear drain is going to hit that floor joist, how are we going to handle that? You are problem solving because you know the design and the overall goal that the client wants in the end, and you're helping getting that endpoint and achieving it from the very beginning. So you can design it, and you're still involved all the way through the end. So it makes it really helpful in the office too, of the problem solving together, the working together, being able to just communicate through all of those items. And what's really cool is our office and our company, we have different divisions within the company too. So we have BAC Design Group, where we're the designers, but then we also have a trim division. So we may design a staircase, and that head of the trim team is also working on that design and communicating all of those specifics to on site. We have a tile division, which myself, being the tile specialist, works with our tile installer on staff, and really comes up with the correct solutions on how to, again, get the design and install correct. And we have a wood shop. So our custom wood shop there, where we can build custom cabinets. We can do really unique custom pieces. We actually, have done some pieces for like glad handler, which is really cool, like a wardrobe dresser type thing. So it's
really cool.
And our guys in there are so talented. And with that, so we've got wood shop people, and then a custom paint booth in there too. So if you needed a custom color sprayed or a custom stain to match something, we could definitely do that. And then project managers and our office staff. So it's really, it encompasses like the full thing. So it's a really one-stop shop. I guess people, say that all the time. But it is in the fact of that you have the knowledge of all of these very talented people in one space. And so our clients really trust us because we are all the experts in each of these areas. So I think it's just a really unique thing that and a benefit that our clients get. They get all of us.
Absolutely. And I can imagine that it really helps streamline the process, Because, I have to imagine that most of the time, most of the clients that you're working with, I would imagine that these are some of their forever homes.
Yep.
They're putting a lot of, hard work and details. They want it to be perfect. And so that can be extremely overwhelming.
Yep.
And so to have everything in one place and with people that you trust, like you said, the experts, all talking to one another, really can help move that process along smoother, quicker, I would imagine, and really leads to perfection.
It does. And even to, like you said, these are people's forever homes in most cases. And in your forever home, you are going to put some of those unique twists that are really just for you and how you live with your family and your lifestyle. And in order to make that happen, you need communication between all of the people, the tree of construction, to make sure that it is implicated properly. So
yeah, it's really interesting and cool that that BAC and BAC Design Group is really at the frontier of this kind of two sister companies working together, that I can imagine, like you were saying, more and more other places are starting to do this. So it's amazing that you kind of were at the start of this. And I will say too, I have been to the BAC and the BAC Design Group kind of headquarters. And when Erica talks about the different divisions, you literally can walk through these buildings and see all these different divisions working and all of them happening. And their showroom is really, really beautiful and really helps provide a visual where you can really see and visualize your space. So for anyone who is, a local in Traverse City, I would highly recommend going there, not only meeting the team, but also actually seeing, touching, feeling the different options and things that they have at their office, for sure.
Yeah, and we have it set up like a home. So there's a little living room with a wet bar and a kitchen. And when we are meeting with our clients, we are more so in those spaces versus the conference room, because we are touching. Oh, if your oven door is this, our walkway here is 45 versus a 36. So look at how the dishwasher door and the oven door are down at the same time, and you can still walk through. So it's really useful that it's set up in that way, because it's more lifelike. It's not just, looking at door samples or on a rack type of situation.
Yeah,
so.
And you want to get to know ultimately someone's personality and what they like, what they don't. And, as the experts, I'm sure there's so many things that you recommend or that you might think that they would like that they don't even know themselves, which is why you would want to work with a team like this. Absolutely. Right. So we kind of touched on that. I'm sure a majority of the projects are forever homes. But I do believe that you can work with, most kind of budget windows, styles, size of homes. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So what's really great about BAC Design Group, I know that we were focusing on how we work with Bay Area contracting, but we also can do jobs with other builders. So if we have a builder relationship and that builder comes to us and wants our help in designing just a kitchen for a kitchen remodel, we can help with that. And also we do sell cabinets. So there are people that come to us for cabinetry that don't even have a builder. And we can provide them cabinetry and we can install cabinetry for them. We also just set up our furniture division, which that's very new for us this year. And it's the same concept. If you are looking to replace all of your furniture in your living room, we would be able to help you with that. So I think people usually just see us as a new build company with Bay Area contracting, but it's really important for everyone to kind of know that you can utilize our services for just design, cabinetry, furniture, lighting, wallpaper, all of those material items, and you don't have to be building a $1 million home in order to hire us for a designer. So you could be working with another builder, or you could just be by yourself, kind of wanting just some extra advice of how to, do X, Y, and Z in your house.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. And one of the key takeaways that I want people to get from this is that, that intimidation factor.
Yeah.
I want that to be removed. And because like I said, they're such a great team to work with, very welcoming, inviting. They are so creative, and their customer service is great. And so I just want, more people to understand that you can come to this team with any questions, projects, things you might want to take on. They are here for you, and they're local. So that's really amazing. So kind of let's move into some, I guess, more personal opinion questions that I'd love to get from you, get from the designer here, the expert. So thinking it's even more interesting now knowing that you're not originally from Northern Michigan. I'm sure that there are different features, functions, and styles that you see more often in Northern Michigan homes than other homes, anywhere else. So what are those that some people, in Northern Michigan, we don't even really think twice about maybe?
Yeah. So one of the biggest styles when I first moved here that I wasn't personally my style, but it seemed like it was a lot up here is the lodge arts and crafts feel because of the more of the forest areas, things like that. So that for me was a little bit of a whirlwind to wrap my head around.
I can imagine.
With the bare toilet paper holder.
Yes. Literally my childhood home, the basement was like the knotty pine. Yes. It was like the wood bare on the wall. Everything was, bears, wolves, all the lodge.
Pine trees.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So I think for me, that was like, oh, I guess this is something here type of thing. But, what I really, I guess I pride myself on as a designer is that even though it's not my taste, like that's not my first thing that I would want to design and go to, I just really love being able to still provide that for clients. So, I am working with a client right now. It's a very big remodel and an addition, and that's what she wants. She actually wanted to make sure she kept her bare toilet paper holder in the new house. So, there are those, and it's fun for me to be able to try to still incorporate those features while updating it into a 2024 home. Right. So that's more of a fun challenge for me to do.
Right.
But yeah, that style seems to be more of the Northern Michigan when I first moved here. I would say. And then I do also think we do have a very coastal cottage feel for those homes that are on the lake.
Yep.
Which almost sometimes reminds me of like this New England, East Coast type of feel, which is really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
People always ask me, will blue go out of style? The color blue. I really feel like here with our cottage homes on the water, blue is almost like a natural color or a neutral color for us.
Yeah.
Because it's all around us. If your home is on the water, you're bringing in those blue colors, those blue tones. And especially with that cottage, coastal feel, that is one of the main colors that you're going to be working with. So
yeah, you just touched on the two things really that my mind was immediately going to. Well, one, thinking of, the people that still want to have the lodge and cozy Northern Michigan feel, figuring out a way to still have that, but in an updated, newer, more maybe trendy way.
Yep.
That has to be a really fun challenge and fun part of the job. And also thinking about, if you were to drive to Harbor Springs and you see the homes there, they're all very coastal.
Yes. Yeah.
All the style that you were just touching on, that's all the homes. They're beautiful. The windows, the blues and whites. It's very, very coastal.
Yep. Exactly. And so the one thing trend-wise that we've been seeing as a design change, which is kind of a left curveball, you know, coming at Traverse City is all the very modern houses with the angled roof lines and the dark colors, black exterior, dark brown exterior.
Absolutely.
So that is really starting to come up a lot more.
Yeah.
I feel like that style has been very popular out in the West, you know, Colorado type, little California feel. I think it's becoming more popular because a lot of people are moving now to Traverse City, or their second homes are here.
Absolutely.
So that style, you can drive, you know, on the peninsula, or Mission Peninsula, and you can see a ton of those houses being built, or up in Charlevoix, or just anywhere really. A lot of that style housing is becoming popular.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen it pop up more, even just downtown Traverse City, which is interesting because then you're combining these really old styles of all the homes, you know, right here in the heart of downtown Traverse City, and then you can have something super modern right next to it. Do you have what is your opinion on those? Do you have styles that you are your own personal preference? I know you probably have to be unbiased, but is there anything that you could say of maybe it's not my favorite?
I actually really like the modern houses. I think they're cool.
Okay.
And I would say it's not sometimes when you think modern, I laugh. I think you know, being an 86 child, I think of like 90s modern, which is
okay.
You know, like Christmas Vacation, Margot, and whatever their house is. And so I think the term modern kind of changes as time changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the new modern is very sleek, very minimalistic.
Absolutely.
You know, there's no trim on the windows or the doors. It's all drywall returns. Very minimal, just decor. Yep. Same paint color throughout the house. Just not a lot going on, which I like. And again, I think, you know, in the 90s and early 2000s growing up, I felt like knickknacks were like a thing.
Absolutely. So, absolutely.
Like get rid of all the knickknacks and the shelving. I don't even want to put pictures of my family on the wall. Like, let's get it out of here.
Yeah. Well, you think about a lot of the people who are more of the minimalist style, like thinking about when I grew up in, and I love my childhood home. My mom still lives in it to this day. I love it. It is my version of home, but she had like the vases with like the fruits or like the pasta and stuff, like decorative, the grapes
sitting in the oil.
Yes, the mystery oil or whatever, you know, that's from like TJ Maxx or whatever. Yeah. So much, and the knickknacks and the bless this home, which you know. I love it, but that's what we grew up with, and so now it's like the minimalist. Like now people want something calm and clean and different. Yeah. So definitely. That totally brought me back to, and so we had like that upstairs, and then the basement was the Knotty Pine lodge feel. So we had the best of both worlds when I was growing up.
Well, and speaking of your comment of the home sweet home or whatever sayings, I would say that is my number one. Do not put a live, laugh, love sign up.
Okay. Okay. That was one of I was going to ask the do's and don'ts. And I had,
like, let's just move on from that phase.
I think that's like universal at this point. If you go on TikTok, and that's where I see, like, Pinterest and TikTok is where I myself, and I'm sure a lot of people see design, you know, tips and tricks and do's and don'ts. And that's like one of the number one things is no more
signage, you know, that.
And ultimately, like, obviously this is a disclosure. This is just opinions. Make your home however you want it. But we're talking trends and things that are moving out and things that are kind of coming in and becoming more popular. Right. What are other, in your opinion, like do's, don'ts, things that we can expect to see potentially more of moving into 2025 and things we're leaving behind this year?
Yeah. So I really think gray has ran its course. The cool millennial gray tones.
Is I see it everywhere. I see it on TikTok. They're removing the millennial gray flooring.
Yeah. It's not in anymore. More of the warmer tones, the taupes, the beiges, even I'm going to say it, oak is coming back.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's more of a white oak versus your red oak. So a lot of wood tones versus painted cabinetry. So I really think the warmer colors, wood tones, staining products, that is going to be more. I see a lot of green too, like the green of this room here. This is a very popular color for both interior and exterior colors.
Yep.
And a lot more of those really rich, deep colors pairing with a nice like neutral. So I see that happening a lot. Again, the modern home thing is very switching gears of I've the past maybe 3 or 4 homes I've done, no casing around your windows or doors.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's one of those, whereas you think the cottage like style or the arts and crafts lodge style casing was prominent. You know, it was a 4-inch casing with a big header above your door. All of that stuff is kind of coming down, getting removed. A lot of windows, you know, people love their windows. The cable railings. So your horizontal cable railings, both interior and exterior, are becoming very popular. And so I do think there's another feature of, it's really strange, garage doors. There was a period there where I feel like I was doing a lot of wood tone like garage doors to make it look like they're stained.
Okay.
But with these new modern feeling homes of the dark black colors and the dark gray colors, a lot of people are just going with a solid color to make them disappear versus making them a statement.
Yeah. I've seen too people saying when they are designing their homes that when you're looking at the home, you're not seeing the garage door; it's on the side. So you're and which I'm like, of course.
Yeah,
like,
focus on your front door. Yeah, that's where people are walking up to and seeing first.
Yeah, we were just also talking about the casings on the windows, which I just had a conversation about this. My boyfriend's family is building their forever home. They are building a barn dominium style home.
Oh yeah, that is popular.
Yes.
Yep.
So I want to ask you about that. Yeah. Really, I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere and it has really gained popularity. His whole family is pretty much intending on building that style home. Can you talk like a little bit about that? Where did it come from?
I almost feel like it came from like COVID possibly time of where people were not working, so maybe income wasn't coming in, you know, and all of that. So if they had a pole barn, why not live in the pole barn and make it livable space versus spending the money and building a brand new house that maybe would be out of their financial and so that's, I mean, and I could be totally wrong, but that's kind of how I kind of started seeing it. You know, I have friends that bought property in Maple City and they built their pole barn to stay in that while they saved up enough money and to do the actual house. And so it could be that situation too, where it's more of, we can utilize this space for living while we wait and do something bigger that we do want, you know, to do in the end. It is a very interesting concept now though, because they're not cheap. You know, it's like, so now what people are doing is they are really turning these into full homes, which could end up being about the same cost, maybe even more than a new build. So
Right. Because I feel like when you brought up COVID, I feel like I distinctly remember during COVID, there was all the talks about lumber costs. Yeah. And it was like, well, lumber's so expensive. So that, I think you're right. I think that's really when it did start to gain popularity because of that. And now, you know, we're almost 5 years post-COVID now. And like you said, it's getting to where it's, you know, probably about the same, if not more. But I had actually personally never been in a barn dominium or a home like that, and I had my own kind of opinions and imagined what it would be like. And there are, I've seen it firsthand. There are ways that you can make it feel more homey because it seems kind of cold.
Yes, yeah.
But I've seen ways that you can make it feel really inviting. But I just have to mention this because I've never seen anything like this. When I went into my boyfriend's family member's house, they have, in the barn dominium, they have like the epoxy kind of floors, and they have a very large home, and his aunt literally rides on like something that like a janitor would have at a school to clean their floors because it's all the same flooring. There's no carpeting, and that's how she gets it done. She just cruises on this thing around the whole place and cleans the floors. I've never seen anything like that in a home before, but you know what? It's efficient, gets the job done. But
I've actually never thought about that extent of, okay, you build the home, what happens for maintenance after it?
Yeah.
So that is kind of crazy to think about. That's one of the ways that you would have to clean their floors.
Yeah. I can imagine too that, again, thinking about specifically Northern Michigan homes, that style is much more popular here than it is anywhere else.
Yeah. And I think too, like a lot of people already have pole barns on their property.
Definitely.
So now they're just taking those and kind of updating them, turning them into more of like a guest room space where family could come and stay while they can store, the boat, the golf cart, that kind of stuff. So it's doubling up there for its purposes.
Yeah, especially, in the case of people that I know, everybody in Northern Michigan has a variety of different toys. The snowmobiles and the boats and the Rangers and all the things. So, you know, it kind of makes sense that you just kind of combine the two, and then you've got space for everything.
Yeah.
So if you yourself were to build a new home for yourself right now, what are 3 features that are like you have to have in your home?
So I have 2 English bulldogs, and I've always and will always be a pet owner, whether that would be dogs or cats. Help me, because my daughter wants a cat and I've never had a cat before, so I don't know what that entails. But so what I've seen a lot is people putting in specific dog wash stations, which, and it's very cool. I want to say it might be Kohler that has now a specific handheld that is for dogs or cats. So the attachments and everything are supposed to help like shed them and wash them and all this stuff. So there's a ton of products coming out designed for pets. And so I think it's really unique depending on what kind of animal you have, catering to, okay, well, maybe let's do something that would help. Like, I don't want to lift my dog up into a tub over the 20-inch tub lip and where they could just walk right in. We've done built-in cages into cabinetry. So if
interesting,
it's really cool. One of our shop guys actually welds metal too, so he was able to make the metal gate into the cabinet, and so that way then you're not having just a dog cage kind of sitting out in the living room. But my personal favorite is taking a pot filler and putting it down low, so that you could just fill up your water bowls right there instead of having to carry water bowls and splashing it around everywhere. So definitely my number one thing would be and that's also the benefit of, Design Group and working with the designer is we're here to find that information out about you and then be able to suggest, well, to make your life easier, have you ever thought about, doing this? Because that might help your back as you get older to lift up your dog, to put him in the shower.
Preference for how you want to live.
Yes.
And what I will say, and a lot of people, other people in real estate or realtors know that those small kind of features, they can be like the shining star of a home. The walk-in dog bath, or, I've seen where they have in the garage, they have a special door that opens to put the groceries in.
Yes.
That's huge
that's
for
huge.
Northern Michigan. Just a small thing, because you coming in and out and with the groceries, and you have wet boots and things, and just being able to, it is a smaller detail, but boy, does it make a difference when you're in your day-to-day life and how you live, for sure. Aren't from Northern Michigan, and then you were in Arizona. You have to have some stories or memorable experience, or even some strange kind of features that somebody has wanted, or stories that you can share with us.
So one of the coolest things in my career that happened to me was I actually won 30 under 30 for the National Kitchen and Bath Association.
Awesome.
So I was able to travel to Las Vegas with the other 30 or 29, I guess, people, and really during KBIS, which is the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show, and was able to just meet other people around the nation and understand how different parts of the country build and design a lot differently. Yep. So that was a really cool experience for me, and still being connected, so online socials, and seeing how far some of these people have come since 2016 and get to watch their progress and their work and all that stuff. So that was a really cool experience for me to be a part of.
And thinking too about you meeting those people, I'm sure that there are so many different stories and things when we talk about Northern Michigan homes. When you're building a home, the different things that you have to consider for the different climates, elements. And we talked about that last week when we talked to a local inspector. Just things that you have to look out for when you're thinking about a home here versus in Florida or California or Colorado. It's really interesting, especially when it comes to your forever home. You want to do it right and make sure that you're protected.
Yeah. No, it's very true. I mean, we had a client from Las Vegas who wanted the stucco look, for their exterior, and it was like we really highly don't recommend doing it here. It's going to crack. It's going to leak. It's not a good idea. So for me, trying to kind of give them that modern, I think the modern kind of Western or West feeling.
Yeah.
So we had this new product. It was metal siding, and I was like, what do you guys think of this? I've never used it before, but do you trust us enough to try it out on your house?
Figure it out, yeah.
And it is so sweet. It's so cool. And so now it's a product that for people that are wanting more of the modern feel versus your Northern Michigan typical siding that now we have experience with and have knowledge about to offer to these clients. So it is one of those things where you it's almost a little hard to figure out at first how to get them what they want, because you do have to do more research on your end of, okay, what other products are there out that we may not know of that would work for us in our area.
Yeah. And again, that's the benefit of working with a team of experts that are going to make you aware of things that you might not be thinking of, or things that you might really want, but ultimately it's probably not in your best interest.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I think one thing that I do want to say, kind of going back a little bit about the trends. I think sometimes people get very wrapped up in wanting to be trendy.
Absolutely.
And really, what I have to tell people sometimes is, if you like it, and if this is going to be your forever home and you're spending $800,000 on a home, make sure it is what you like. Who cares if your neighbor doesn't like that paint color? I mean, it's not their house. So I feel like there's a lot of times where clients almost have too much information and too much input from friends, family. My person over here knows someone in the roofing industry, X, Y, and Z. Just trust your gut. You hired us for a reason, and we're here to help guide you through this process. And we're not going to let you do anything that's completely wacky.
Yeah.
Unless you really want wacky. I can be wacky.
Yeah. And you have done wacky.
Yes, we have. But, but that it's because it's what that person would love. And we're trying to create a house for what you like, not what your neighbor likes, or not what your mom thinks you should do.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just want people to really remember that this is, when you're doing this process, it is overwhelming. You get a lot of information thrown at you. There's so much stuff that you can see on social media and online.
Absolutely.
That just take a step back, take a breath, and really just trust your gut and what you like and how you want to, that's the space you're going to be living in. So
Right. What do you want home to feel like?
Yes,
what does that look and
yes,
feel like? And
yes.
I really love that you brought that up, especially with social media and things, just because I know me personally, I've fallen victim to this. It's like trends they come in and out so quick, and it's like the holidays come around and it's like, well, this is the new holiday style and you have to get rid of all your old things or change this and change that. And so I think it's really good that you bring that up, just to be in touch with what you like, what do you want, and what is your idea of home and what makes you feel comfortable and happy.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Because your lifestyle may not be the same as someone else. And the way that you do things, cooking wise or folding laundry or spending time with family in the living room is completely different than the next person.
Dogs and pets, like you had touched on.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's very important.
Yeah. Well, Erica, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and I want you guys at home to know that if there are any questions that you have, you want to comment on Ray Dunn or the Knotty Pine or barn dominiums and modern homes, let us know your thoughts, and perhaps that we'll do this again and we'll cover some more topics.
Definitely.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.